Hi, I'm John Hart. Welcome back to Official John Hart. The time between your workouts, and to be specific, I'm talking about training a body part, any body part, okay? While there can be variations, between training your quadriceps, your quads, your thighs, and training your bicep, for example. A smaller body part, it may recover a little bit quicker than the larger one. Okay, so a larger body part, such as your quads or your lats, might require a little bit longer to recover and adapt or grow after you've trained. And this you can consider when you design your own workout. However, I'm not going to get too caught up in the weeds on that one, but rather say that right now, when you consider all of the information that's out there, especially in YouTube, we have, a wave of PhDs out there right now who present studies that are done on frequency of training body parts and the best frequency for muscle growth and things like that. And so take some of them with a grain of salt, because if you are in the same category as a lot of those test subjects, usually college age male students, athletes or beginners usually. If you're in that category, then I suppose some of that information can apply to you. However, if you are a natural bodybuilder and you are deciding, hey, I want to increase my lean muscle mass as much as possible. And by the way, it doesn't mean you're a competitive natural bodybuilder. You can be 60 years old, 50, 70, 40, 20, and deciding I want to put on more muscle mass. But you don't fall into that category of the college student that has all day long to train, sit around, eat, take a nap, and you want to go ahead and you want to train hard, get in your workouts, and then you have to get to your job, or you have to go and get to your family time or functions with your family. Take the kids to their events, their sporting events, all that stuff. You're going to have to consider how you design your workouts a little bit more carefully. And in doing so, there's been sort of some established things over the last 50 years or so, if you're natural, okay? That's the discussion right here, is we're not getting too into the steroid topic, because if you're into steroids and growth hormones and bodybuilding drugs, then that skews everything and makes it so that you probably can train body parts more often, more frequency. And by the way, all these tests that you hear about online, all of these studies, the last thing you'll hear them mention is that the test subjects were drug tested. You won't hear that. I said it. Apparently no one is bringing this up. So this is one of those peeves that I have when I do hear about the latest studies being done on training frequency or the best frequency for hypertrophy. So let's just keep it really simple right now and just say you're faced with two choices here. If you go by the current wisdom that is shown online of training body parts more often equals more muscle, okay, then you're going to end up with an average of about 3 times per week per muscle group, and you're either training full body 3 times a week in a workout that could get quite lengthy, or you're training on a 6-day a week, 7-day a week split routine, and you're training a lot every single day in the gym, and you're breaking body parts up any way you can so you can equal, getting in 3 workouts per week per body part. That's a lot, okay? And this totally discounts any minor injuries that you may have incurred along the way, which are going to be exacerbated by that kind of frequency. So consider all of that. And then also consider that bodybuilding, as well as the wisdom of growing muscle, this is before all these studies. So the wisdom of growing muscle, that's with in the gym empirical evidence, had bodybuilders all throughout the 90s, early 2000s, training body parts once a week. And when that worked, and when that was done, they grew muscle. And they grew a lot of muscle and had less injuries and could do that long term. So there's a direct correlation between, and a relationship between the intensity of your workout. So if you're going to work out hard, which we believe does stimulate muscle growth, so you have to go over a certain breakover point, training very hard. The more intensely you train, the less often or the lower frequency you must have. Because that muscle has to, after a workout, it has to recover and then grow. If you don't allow that growth part to happen, then you're just spinning your wheels each time coming back to the gym, believing you have to train more often in order to stimulate more hypertrophy, but you never reaped the benefit of the previous workout that you did on that body part. So what's the answer here? So the common answer all through the 90s and the early 2000s, which some of you will say, well, we have more recent studies, meta-studies, meta-analysis, all of this stuff. Great. None of them are long-term. None of them went on for years. There's a good answer for you right there. So in considering your workout, I've been doing this for 41 years as a trainer. I'm throwing this out here, on top of all the evidence that was all throughout the 90s, the 2000s, that training body part 1 time per week is great. Training it very hard. It leaves you a little bit of wiggle room, let's say, for some of the smaller body parts, which you could train a little bit more frequently, whether it's your calves, your biceps, triceps, shoulders. Smaller body parts tend to recover a little bit quicker, but by no means, in no way, will you see people training their quads 3 times per week hard. That just doesn't seem to happen. Even the women out there who are training their legs 3 times per week, you'll notice one workout is quad focused, one is glute focused, one is hamstring focused, meaning they put all of their intensity and effort into those parts of their legs and then less effort, and they kind of touch the muscles that were already trained hard that week. So consider that as well, that you can't rightly go and blast a big muscle 3 times per week without causing some problems. So when designing your workout, and I do recommend getting a hold of, and this is a shameless plug right here, I've written 3 books. You can get a hold of one of my books, Physique 101, breaks down workouts for beginning, intermediate, advanced. And that book, as well as perhaps checking out my training community, I'll put the links down below, where we do discuss training frequency and body parts and how often between workouts in more depth, let's say. Get a hold of one of those 2, okay? You may want to consider, I have out right now, I'm the first fitness influencer to AI myself. So you can get a hold of John Hart AI 25, and that link will be down below as well, and you can read about it and see what it's all about and gain even more information for yourselves. But when it comes to the frequency of the workouts, hitting your body part 1 time per week very hard gives it enough time, again, to recover and grow or adapt before you hit it again. Keep in mind, if you're sore on a regular basis, if you're making your muscles sore on a regular basis, some of that can actually be, it's a good sign on the one hand in that you've trained hard enough or a little bit harder than usual, so that's kind of a good sign. But on the other end, you've caused a little bit of damage in there that muscle has to repair itself somehow, some way in the given amount of time that you're giving it before the next workout. And that could be problematic with your frequency. So I'm going down the road of 1 time per week frequency for the biggest muscle groups. Occasionally, if you wanted to hit the smaller ones twice a week, well, that would be appropriate. Or if you're doing a routine like my A-B split, which I've recommended many times, then you're going to hit some body parts 1 week, twice a week, and then the following week, once a week. It rotates twice 1 week, once the following week. That may be the perfect frequency right there, depending on how you want to split up that workout. So I'll put a link down below for my video I did on my A-B split routine. You can check that out as well when you're done with this video. All right? So a lot to consider, and I hope you got a lot out of this. I know that some of you all are, you've been involved in working out recently, not seeing a lot of progress, and you do want to make progress, okay? So when I use the term bodybuilder, I want you all to know that I consider all of y'all who are interested in increasing your lean muscle mass a bodybuilder. You don't have to be a stage-ready competitive bodybuilder by any means. And if you think of yourself that way, then you're going to take some of the principles that we use in bodybuilding, especially natural bodybuilding, and apply them to your own workouts. And you'll see great benefit. All right, so that's it for today. From my heart to you, John Hart. Please, down below, hit me with your comments. I love to hear what you have to say. Consider all the things that I've said. Let me know what your workouts are looking like. I do get in that comment section, especially after I post this video. I'll see you soon. Oh, before you leave, off to my left, you're going to see this disc pop up. That is a subscribe button for my channel. Please hit that thing and let them know that you want to be subscribed to my channel. Anytime new videos pop up, YouTube will let you know. And then down below and off to your left, you're going to see a thumbs up button. Please give that thing a tap. It lights up the algorithm and it lights me up too. Let's go.